Shit is getting crazy in the global stage, and possibly one of the newest and biggest wars happening on the planet might be looming on the horizon. That being a full-scale conflict between India and Pakistan. I must admit, I have a pretty significant foreign policy, global history, and just general lack of knowledge in this department. Right? Like, I'm not an expert on this issue, but I will say, from what I've heard, India, different I, India has committed some pretty horrible atrocities against Pakistan, like genocide level atrocities, if I'm not mistaken, right? And I'm pretty sure Pakistan has responded in kind, and there has been, like, civilian deaths in India as well, but, like, I'm not 100% sure on the situation, but my general understanding is India has basically subjugated, genocided, and done horrible things to Pakistan historically. Pakistan now has a very, very negative political opinion of India, and they are basically have been constantly in a tenuous kind of peace for a while now, and now that's what's coming to an end. Like, that's my understanding of the situation, though I'm no expert, and that is why we're hopefully going to learn a lot more going into this. What? No, there was terrorist attacks on Indian tourists. Okay, so does that... But does that mean that, like, India never, like, did anything with... You realize I'm not trying to claim one side is, like, in the right over another right now, right, AL? I'm literally just telling you what context I understand. As far as I know, India has historically oppressed Pakistan. In response, Pakistan has done terrorism on India and hates India, and now it's leading into full-scale conflict. Where is the dispute here, AL? Come on, chill out. God, people get so fucking uppity in chat these days. Anyway, tensions still remain high in India and Pakistan after apparent breaches of a ceasefire that was agreed upon. And so now we don't know where things are going. Will violence de-escalate and a relative state of peace be restored besides the occasional civil disruptions, or are things going to resume and get real crazy? They're having a dispute over the territory of Kashmir. Isn't India just trying to straight up have Kashmir, like take it? And it originally was either part of Pakistan or was its own thing, right? Or I think, like, Pakistan just wants it too. Like, I think Kashmir is its own place and Pakistan and India want it. I think I heard something about that. Hopefully we get a lot of historical context going into this, okay? I'm American, and we Americans only know so much about the issues in other countries until they become world news. You know, that's just how we Americans do.
Good evening. I'm Laura Barone Lopez. John Yang is away. India and Pakistan agreed to a ceasefire today after the most serious military confrontation between the nuclear-armed neighbors in decades. The deal was expected to bring a swift end to the fighting after 4 days of drone volleys and missile strikes. But just hours later, multiple explosions were heard in India-controlled Kashmir. India's foreign secretary accused Pakistan of breaching the truce.
We take very, very serious notice of these violations. We call upon Pakistan to take appropriate steps to address these violations and deal with the situation with seriousness and responsibility.
For its part, Pakistan's foreign ministry said it is ready to engage in, quote, constructive diplomacy and solve the dispute in Kashmir through peace.
Was that Arma footage? I'm pretty sure that was Arma. No, it was not, retard. PBS NewsHour did not show Arma game footage, mistaking it for real war footage. That has happened before, but not with PBS. And it's usually viral videos on Twitter that a bunch of people take seriously, not verified news outlets showing Arma footage. But it's happened.
Peaceful means. Lisa Curtis is director of the Indo-Pacific Security Program at the Center for a New American Security, and she served on the National Security Council during President Trump's first term.
I'm always a bit suspicious of people jumping to India's defense because of how Hitlerian the right-wing media in India has gotten. From my understanding, This is not going to be a situation where you can say that one country is objectively like the absolutely correct one, morally. It's not like a Ukraine Russia situation where it's cut and dry as fuck. It's more of a like Palestine Gaza Israel situation where it's like four different parties, two parties on both sides don't want fighting or civilian death, and two parties on either side, or one party on each side, wants lots of civilian death and more fighting. You know, it's like I'm pretty sure it's going to be a similar situation. You're going to have Pakistani terrorists killing civilians in India and Indian tourists. You're going to have a history of India like oppressing and trying to annex land from Pakistan, right? Like, I'm pretty sure Pakistani people in India have like I'm pretty sure there's like been civil rights stories and cases about like the treatment of Pakistani people in India. I may be wrong about that, but I'm pretty certain I've heard a good bit about that. So it's going to be one of those situations where there are radical nationalist sentiments within political parties and within entities in both countries, and those sides are going to try and get the general movement to side with them and excuse their behavior. And that's kind of a worry. I don't want this to be framed as some kind of like cut and dry story, because I can already tell it's not. Isn't the Pakistani government literally in bed with their terrorist groups? Yeah, like it's just there's no way that this is going to be a cut and dry conflict.
She joins us now. Lisa, we all learned about this agreement when President Trump posted on Truth Social that the two countries had reached a, quote, full and immediate ceasefire after U.S. mediated.
I really love how the media believed that these countries had reached a full ceasefire because Trump said so. Amazing.
Talks. Is this actually a ceasefire, and what do you make of the parameters of the deal?
Well, I think this is a very important ceasefire agreement that was announced. I think the U.S. did have a role in it. Secretary of State Rubio has been engaged with his Indian and Pakistani counterparts over the last several days. It seems things came to a head on Friday when the situation was really escalating between the two countries, and the U.S. got involved even more deeply. Vice President Vance talked to Prime Minister Modi, and finally today they were able to clinch a ceasefire deal. Now, only a few hours after the deal was put into place, as you have reported, there were apparent violations.
Well, I have yet to see in modern politics a prominent story of a ceasefire getting agreed to and not being broken within 3 days. Like, I have yet to see a ceasefire actually hold any time in the last 8 years when it comes to a conflict. I'm sure it's happened, and I just haven't seen it, but it's wild how often these ceasefires last for less than 48 hours. Like, they're a big deal. The media's freaking out about how peace is finally, like, first steps towards peace, and then less than 48 hours later, both sides are accusing each other of breaking the ceasefire first.
Of the ceasefire. So this is, not a good thing, but I don't think that this means it's completely breaking down.
Pakistan's prime minister did not address India's accusation that they violated the ceasefire. How volatile is this situation?
Well, it is a volatile situation. It has calmed down, of course, since yesterday, since we now have a ceasefire in place. Both countries have acknowledged it. So, there is no reason, even if India believes that there may have been some violations, this doesn't mean that India has to respond. Because unfortunately, the cycle we were in over the last 4 days was tit for tat, responding with drones, missiles on each side, and it was continuing to escalate. But now that we have this agreement in place, there is a mood. People are very happy. There's a mood that things have calmed down. And so I see the ceasefire violation.
I hope this doesn't escalate into the next big conflict everyone's talking about nonstop, and we're nonstop hearing stories about like civilians dying and homes and infrastructure and hospitals and schools getting wiped out. We don't need more of that. Can we just have one W as a species this year? Like, just one W. Like, can we just avoid a big war between two substantial countries just once this decade? Just one time? This decade has been rough so far when it comes to global conflict. Can we just chill one time? Just one fucking break, okay? India, Pakistan, just chill the fuck out. Please. We don't need this right now. India and Pakistan hate each other because the British divided the land between Hindu and Muslims. Well, yeah, because didn't, like, the Hindu and Muslim populations not really like each other in the first place? British took over, drew up the maps. There were disagreements over who got what, I'm sure. And obviously the British can probably be thanked for a lot of that destabilization. I mean, the British just, like, raped India, right? Like, there's no other word to describe it as than rape. Like, just straight up. Sounds familiar. British sure messed up a lot. Yes, they did. Didn't the British kill, like, 80% of the bird species there when they arrived in New Zealand within, like, a decade or something? Like, they wiped out half the bird species in New Zealand within, like, 10 years of arriving. Something along those lines. It was, like, crazy as fuck.
As temporary. Hopefully they're temporary, and they do not mean that the situation is breaking down, but rather it's just an imperfect ceasefire at the moment. And I think the U.S. will get involved. It already has been involved. It has brokered this ceasefire. And so I'm sure that as we speak, the U.S. is talking with both sides, trying to figure out what is going on to make sure that they can get the ceasefire back into place. And
you're assuming there are any adults in the room whatsoever, though. Keep that in mind.
Get the situation calmed down again.
Lisa, what do you make of the fact that India's government said that this deal was brokered between India and Pakistan? They didn't acknowledge any U.S. involvement and seemed to reject some of the statements from the president and Secretary of State Rubio.
Well, I don't think this is surprising. India has always rejected any third-party mediation in its dispute with Pakistan over Kashmir. Pakistan has a completely opposite position, where they constantly are trying to get international attention and mediation on the dispute. So, in these cases, it is important that the U.S. is involved and taking a role in pulling both countries back from the brink. However, the U.S. doesn't have a role in trying to, resolve the fundamental territorial dispute over Kashmir.
Yeah, I don't know if we could do that.
That is not something that I think the U.S. Can help out with. That is something.
Like, who can, though? Like, isn't that just going to literally be, like, just an annexation war? Like, they're just going to continue to fight until, like, both sides have decided, all right, we've had enough. I think it's over now. I don't know if there is any mediator that can solve that. It can't be resolved. A lot of cases with, like, land dispute between countries literally can't be resolved. It like, a lot of the times there has to be some kind of, like, exchange of land ownership for there not to be outright war. Pakistan agreed to the ceasefire due to an IMF loan being agreed upon the conditions. Yeah, but, like, oh, fuck. Yeah, I guess just bribing Pakistan to chill the fuck out. Literally bribing Pakistan. Holy shit.
Something that both of the countries have to do on their own.
Let's hope it
so
works.
India
Let's
is
hope they
very
take it.
sensitive to any hints of outside mediation in their dispute with Pakistan. And I think that's why they have really downplayed the U.S. role in this particular ceasefire agreement.
Lisa Curtis, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Very good. I mean, pretty solid coverage. I feel like I know more about the situation than I did before, and that is a good thing. That is what we want. I don't know if this is going to escalate or de-escalate. I'm not going to pretend to know enough about the situation to say that, but considering the US are the ones behind, like, trying to organize the ceasefire and arrange, like, talks of peace between Pakistan and India, I have my fleeting doubts. I have my fleeting doubts that this is going to go well. I am hoping that this does not result in the next big conflict, like, because you know India's gonna have China's help, right? Like, people have been mentioning that, like, China is kind of, like, also fighting over Kashmir and might, like, you know, buddy up with India just to kind of deal with Pakistan trying to fight over its own, like, bit of Kashmir. Like, there's a lot of fuckery that could go down. Like, it could actually escalate. There's been talks, like, a fair few people who are, like, experts in this kind of thing. I know India and China hate each other, but to, like, just not have to fight with Pakistan over what Pakistan wants, it could happen. Like, it's one of those situations where I could see the entire landscape of politics flipping between these countries in the coming future. There have been, like, a bunch of experts saying that World War III, and I'm not, like, big on this kind of fear-mongering about World War III myself, but I've heard a lot of experts that are pretty well accredited and have a pretty good record saying they believe that World War III, if it's ever going to happen, it almost certainly started when Putin invaded Ukraine, and when the conflict there led to a general world destabilization. You had COVID, you had Israel and Hamas escalating conflict. You've got, like, Pakistan, India, and China looking at, like, having a big old fight, maybe, like a big old three-way fight, or maybe, like, Pakistan will team up with China. Who knows what could end up happening, because of land dispute, fights over ideology and historical context of oppression and annexation. Like, man, it's hard to say. There are no adults in the room on the American side of things, by the way. Like, there are some relatively moderate Republicans that hold positions in the administration that might be able to actually have a productive conversation. But, man, I'm pretty certain that, like, the people in charge of trying to keep the peace right now, I don't even know if that's their objective. And even if it is, I don't know if they have the wherewithal to make that happen. I don't know. The war between India and Pakistan is very something. It is indeed. But, yeah, listen. If you watch this far into the video and you want to support the stream and you want to let me know you watched this far, comment down below, please no war. Please, no war. Comment that and I'll know you watched this far, and it'll help the channel and let me know that you enjoy my content and want to see more from me, and you want to help to keep more of it coming out. Really does mean a lot. I really do appreciate it. And of course, if you want to support me even more, you can drop a like, you can subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload new videos. And of course, if you want to see more from me on other platforms, you can follow my social medias, linked down below in the description. And of course, if you haven't already, and you want to support me directly, you can afford it and you feel like it, consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me through YouTube, Twitch, Stream Elements, Streamlabs, or Patreon. And of course, finally, if you want to be a part of the main hub of my community and be there when I host gaming events, call-in streams, watch parties, and movie nights, you should definitely join my Discord server as well, which is linked down below in the description. But with all that said, thank you all so much for watching, as always, no matter how you support me, and I hope you all have a good one.